Hello, you guys. I am Maria, and I'm the admin of the Money Making Esthetician Facebook group. And today I'm joined with David Valenzuela, our acne specialist on all things acne. I absolutely love today's topic. So, this topic was inspired because if you guys are like me, I want to plug and play. Like, I don't got time for that. So, I was lucky enough to find the best virtual assistant who helped me plug and play. And then came to David and I was like, David, let's look over this. Let's get our acne boot camps together because we want estheticians to plug and play and make money. And ain't nobody got time to be doing all that other stuff. So that's
Nice.
where I came to David and I was like, David, please, please, please. Of course, he said, yes, Maria, we need to help these estheticians. I want us to make money so bad. You guys have,
Mhm.
not just me, I want all of us thriving. 100K is the bottom and everything up from there. How amazing would that be?
Yes.
Two, I did a post earlier probably this week, wherever, where I said the prediction. And so we have the prediction of the next 2 years, 3 years. And our old motto used to be don't suffer in silence. Our new motto is we don't get scared, we get smart. And I did that because I don't want, there's so much fear and so uncertainty being thrown at us. And fear is a natural human response. But when you pivot that and you say, I'm not going to get scared, I'm going to get smart because we have things like these sessions, like Maxine, like David, like Erica, to really be able to shift our focus to get smart and get to the pavement. So we are here with David to get smart. And one of the predictions is niching, 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 retail sales, selling online. At
Mhm.
the beginning of this conversation, or the beginning of this, we had a conversation where I said, what are your guys' money goals? I've actually put my money goal down because people scared me into putting the money goal down, which was I wanted to make 30. Everybody told me that's crazy. They say 20. Then we started the beginning of this conversation. Erica told me 30,000 is so doable. And that's why I was like, you know what? Like attracts likes. And I was like, in this group, we're the money making estheticians. And that's why I love the subject of today because we're niching and we're selling
Mhm.
product and we're doing boot camps and we're getting packages and we're retaining our clients. Okay, go
All the
ahead.
things.
David, please introduce yourself. I'm so on fire.
All the things. All right. So I see fellow pros in here. So you guys, hi. My name's David Valenzuela. I'm the founder of Wish Skin Health, all things industry related. And I want to apologize that we had to reschedule this. I don't actually get sick very often. And when we had this scheduled the first time, I was actually had like the fever sweats. And I was like, okay, can I pull off this webinar like sitting here sweating? And I'm like, no. And I texted Maria, I was like, Maria, I can't, which I don't usually say no very often. So if you're watching this live, thank you guys for showing up. If you're watching in the replay, thank you. Sorry about the reschedule. We're all human beings, right? All right. I'm going to go and share my screen, Maria.
You're the co-host. You're perfect.
All right. So let me pull this up and make sure that you guys can see. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, let's go over
I
here.
think you can make it bigger if you do share.
Let's push share. And let's do it like this. Full screen. How about there?
Perfection.
Okay, love that. So you guys, this is anytime we do a live in money making, it's obviously meant to be open dialogue. So you can ask questions. I usually don't look at the questions until the end, but we always have time for questions at the end. So this is and I see Maxine. Hi, Maxine. I see Tabitha. Hi, Tabitha. Hi, guys. This is a lot of questions with people have been asking about how do I structure my boot camp? And so I'll just jump right into the slides because you'll start to see what I'm talking about because the first question is usually the wrong question. So let me give you the history. So those of you that know, I founded a brand called Wish Skin Health. We're dedicated to creating innovative and sustainable skin health formulations for aesthetic professionals. Wish stands for Wisdom Inspired Skin Health. So everything that we do is about skin health, maintaining microbiome health, barrier function, all the fun things. But something I should have underlined in here, but we really talk about root cause long-term skin care solutions, clear solutions, so that it's one thing to get a client clear, it's something else that you can do to maintain their clear skin moving forward. So all things about Wish, and of course, you guys will get to see how you can partner with us in the future. But today, here's what I want to talk about. So effective pricing strategies. Maxine could probably do this. If I just literally dipped out right now, she could do the presentation for me because we talk about this a lot. So as with all things Wish World, most of you, if you guys have gone through our program, you've had multiple conversations with me, text messages, whatever. We've had webinars. But I always ask, what is the goal? So we're often trying to put solutions into things. All over here, how do I fix that? I want to do that. I want to go over here, but we haven't defined what the foundational goal for what we're trying to do is. So we have to start with a goal. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about overlooked opportunities, which is really your profitability with your pricing, evaluating your current data set. So wherever you're at in your business, and this can be, I put a $100,000 example in here. We used to talk about doing 6 figures. And that was like a big deal. And now we're like, we need to do like $500,000 a year. So all those things, it's just wherever you're at, we meet you where you're at. Problems and solutions. Of course, we're here to provide solutions in the aesthetic community. One of the number one aesthetic opportunities in the industry, which those of you that are here that are pros already know, and of course, some takeaways. So you'll have some downloadable resources that we'll be able to follow up with post-presentation for everybody that registered. So I love that. I'm going to move everybody's faces over here. So goal setting. So I love this. This is the question that I ask. And if you've had a conversation with me, I usually ask you, what is your goal? And oftentimes we have to hang up and then come back to the conversation in a week because you have to really sit and think with yourself, like, what am I trying to do? I have kids, I'm busy, I'm working 6 days a week right now. I'm working 10-hour days. Like, is it sustainable? Can I do that moving forward? But really where this all starts with, before you even get into an exercise about pricing, is what is your goal? Are you looking to work smarter and not harder? Which of course everybody says yes. And then how do I do that? Do I want to work 3 days a week, 5 hours a day? Is that possible for the goal that I'm trying to achieve? I say yes. Of course, it is possible with a little bit of planning. But this is the foundational question to all pricing exercises. So you're going to see on my next slide when we talk about and we'll see it obviously in Maria's group. We see it a lot where people are like, what do you charge? What are people charging for this? And I'm like, I want to jump up and down because I'm like, that's the wrong question, which you're going to see. You're going to see it on here. But once you define a goal, you can back into what your boot camp should look like and any other pricing strategy. So this is not just applied to an acne boot camp, traditional facial, a waxing service, maybe if you have lasers, whatever that may be, you're going to be able to take some of these things into account. So 90%, of course, 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how we respond to it. The world is a heated place right now. I did a podcast. I think it went live last Friday, where I was talking to Jill Jodar, esthetician in San Francisco, about how we're reacting to our clients. There's a lot of heated things going on in the world right now, and it's literally 90% of our job right now to not react or over respond to what's happening in the media. Clients are coming to us for a reprieve, which I thought was cool. And then 100% of new Wish certified practitioners tell me that they learned something new in the course. So you guys, we have 40-year estheticians in the group, and we have people that just graduated from aesthetic school, and every single person says they learned something, which is my first question. What did you learn? If you knew a lot of knowledge, if you're already practicing acne, what did you learn in the course? So I love that statistic, and I got to keep changing it up to make sure it never dips below. Okay, so the number one question, the $1 million question, that's the wrong question. By the way, you guys, these are all pictures so Stephen put the photos into our before and after photos in here. They're all real life photos from different pros across the country. So if you're on here and you see one of your clients, they've all been submitted, which I love it. I love real life photos.
Really, really quick, David, you guys also don't stress out in taking notes. I promise everything. It's already streamed into the group, pinned under feature. This will get replayed on YouTube and sent out via newsletter. So yes, okay.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to write all this down or take screenshots or any of that. No. We are always going to do a replay. And, that's actually where more people, I was sitting at lunch a couple weeks ago, you guys, and I got a text message about we had reached a certain threshold of Spotify plays, and it was hours. And I'm like, people have listened to that podcast for 10,000 hours. And I was like dumbfounded in the moment because I haven't put a podcast out in a few months. So I was like, what's happening? It's all the data that lives online forever. So yes, you're always going to be able to go back, look at this. You know, I'm a fast talker. I got a lot to say. So number one, how much should I charge? And this is the question I see most often asked. And it's not just in relation to acne, but all services. And it truly is the wrong question. The question really should be around what is your overhead for your specific business? So we're now, you know, since 2021 to 2025, we've got pros all over the country. And I've been fortunate enough to be not just domestically, all over the country. Like I go to all these small towns. People are like, you've been here before? I'm like, I have been here before. Everybody is in a very different overhead situation. If you're in New York City versus LA versus like somebody in rural Texas or you're way up in New Hampshire, like everyone's in a different pricing structure. So to throw the question out to other service providers, what do you charge? And then try to plug that into your business, it doesn't plug in play right because it's not about everybody else's business, it's about your business. So fun little exercise. Don't like Maria said, you can take notes on it, but it's not, you don't have to write all this down. Just an exercise to do. Gather all of your monthly expenses. And this is obviously starting with your rent, anything you spend on laundry, utilities, any lease payments you have on your equipment, of course, the products you're using, your insurance, all of those things to figure out what your total monthly, I say monthly now, what your total monthly overhead is for your business. And then it's going to give you sometimes it's eye-opening to you guys because you look and you go, oh my gosh, why is that? I didn't realize I was spending that much money, which I've heard multiple times over my career. I didn't realize that my overhead was so high. And so we have to adjust our pricing or we have to adjust our service strategy because we can't achieve that. I'll tell you one sidebar story. It's the only time in my career where I've had somebody cry. And I'm not interested in giving people tears. That's not the goal. That's never the goal for a conversation. But we were actually running a profit and loss. This is why I work for a beta at a spa outside of Sacramento. And this owner had actually come outside of the industry. So you guys, at various points in time, you know, we have people that come into the industry like, I want to own a spa. It'd be great to own a spa. And they bring in outside investment from whatever industry they used to work in. And they're like, I'm just going to own a spa thinking it's like a fun thing to do. I did have some clients in Atlanta where their husbands actually purchased a spa for their wives. It's like something fun to do. I'm like, no, 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 it doesn't work that way. So as we were going through the numbers, she had spent $1 million on the build out of this location. And when so just visualize Roman spa. So like the pillars and the whole entire thing, but there were some immediate, as I was going through the tour before they even opened, when you walked into to go to like change your clothes for men, change your clothes for women into I want to call it a break room, a locker room, there was like a communal spa in the middle. And I was like, this is not what our clients do. This is probably 2002, 2003, so 20 years ago. I'm like, clients are not ever going to get into this hot tub in this Roman structured spa environment. They never did. No one was getting in there. It was not the right thing to spend money on. Anyone that's ever had to maintain a water feature, let alone a spa inside of your business, knows that's a very costly part of your business. So long story short, we went through all of the numbers. And when I told her how much money she had to generate monthly just to break even, she actually welled up in tears. And I was like, we just need to readjust your strategy here because there's no possible way with how many service providers you've allocated, how much you're anticipating you're going to do in retail, that you're even going to break even every single month. So every year, and you know, our costs are changing. There's a lot of evolving things happening in real time to us right now about what our monthly overhead actually looks like for me as a brand owner as well, with packaging and raw materials, and it's never ending. So it's just a good exercise so you can have that number in your head and then you can back into a pricing structure, okay? So when you do this exercise, you're gonna know, okay, at minimum, I know I need to generate X amount of dollars. And I left this blank, you guys, I left this open so that it wasn't like, 5,000. This is up for you to actually go through this exercise yourself for your specific business to figure out, okay, once I break even here, this is my break even point, and now I need to make X amount of dollars for my profitability goal based off of how many days a week I want to work. Like, what does my life look like? I got to take my kids to baseball practice, whatever the situation is. We're all busy people, okay? So once you figure this out, this is now how you configure your pricing based off your expense structure. So you can back into it, defining your unique value proposition and creating an offering, obviously to be competitive in your marketplace. So in addition to the overhead exercise, I say you do that exercise first before you start looking at anything that's going on in your marketplace. It's really not about I see Misty coming in. It's really not about what other people are charging. You can take it into a factor. It's a consideration factor, but it should not define your point of difference or what you are personally doing in your business as a pricing exercise. I'm like, we have to stop looking at what everybody else is doing and stay focused on what we're doing and not get distracted. So unpacking our goal. So I use the six-figure goal here because it's very, very easy. So, and you guys, we used to talk about it all the time, get to six figures, get to six figures, get to six figures. When you actually break the goal down, assuming you're taking a 2-week vacation and you're working 5 days a week, it's about $400 a day in service and retail. Now, I know there's some providers in here in this group right now that are listening that are doing $400, close to $400 with a single client. So depending on how much you're trying to do, when you actually take your overwhelming, I'm never going to be able to achieve that goal, and you actually break it down into little bite-sized chunks. And then right at the very beginning of this, Maria was talking about, what's your goal for the month? Like, what are you trying to do? It just makes your life a little bit more manageable. And you should really divide it out, because in the business world, we would say gift card sales, your retail sales, your service sales, and really you can break it out like that. I don't like counting on gift cards because there's a very low redemption rate. And every time at the end of the year, I'm like, this is outstanding money. And depending on what state you live in, like gift cards don't expire in California. So if you sell a couple $100,000 worth of gift cards and like 20% of them are redeemed, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to come in. It's just, I don't look at it as like a benchmark number that you should incorporate into your sales. But you can look at it as part of your total overall pie. Just don't bank on that. So when you start looking at breaking it down into 5 working days for $400, that doesn't feel like a lot of money, you guys, right now, especially right now in 2025. So as you start thinking about what your goal is based off of what your overhead is, it becomes very easy to unpack. So if you guys have worked with me one-on-one and you've had this exercise where we're talking about generating a goal, we then take our goal, we take it from monthly. We usually start with an annual goal, like what do we want to do in 2026? We'll figure out an annual goal, break it down into 12 months, break it down into a monthly, and then down to a weekly and down to a daily goal. If you're working with other people and you want to incorporate what everybody's specific target is, it's just a great way to make it feel very, very achievable. Because you guys, I know $400 right now in 2025 doesn't feel like a lot of money. It's crazy. Even when you go outside. So we're having, we just had Coachella for 2 weeks. We're having Stagecoach, and, spending $25 or $30 on a cocktail at one of these events is not, it sounds ridiculous, but it's now normal, right? $30 for a single cocktail. So just think about it on the daily when you're thinking about your goal, breaking it down into bite-sized chunks so it doesn't feel overwhelming, because it really actually is not as difficult as we think. So here's another mistake that I feel people are making when when Maria and I were initially talking about boot camp structure. How do I structure my boot camp? The number one thing that I see where people have the biggest hiccup is there's no time restraints. So we're conventionally used to selling a certain amount of services in the industry. So I'm selling a package of 6, and it just goes on forever. So a year and a half later, someone's like, oh yeah, I bought this package at the ending of 2019, and I want to use that facial. Well, first of all, with acne specifically, we're not structured that way. That's not how we're going to get results with acne. So we want our boot camps to be, and it could be called anything, you guys. It doesn't have to be a boot camp, but I know people want to go through the boot camp. We want it to have a time-bound situation. So if you're going to structure a 90-day, if you're going to sell a boot camp package, so just think of it as another word for series. we're usually looking at 90 days for moderately inflamed acne to get somebody over the clearing bridge. Now, we can treat somebody as frequently as every 2 weeks. So we're going to build a structure. We're going to actually sell to our client a 90-day package. So if they come for every 2 weeks and they get treatments and they're doing their home care and everything, I'm going to give you guys some different ideas with how that package can actually be positioned. Fantastic. If they miss a treatment, skip a treatment, that's okay too. But we're not adding them on to the end. So you can tell I was talking all weekend too. So the purpose, of course, of a boot camp is getting your client to commit, obviously. So we're talking about a value proposition for your customer. So what's the reason why I want to buy this package? If I just bought them all open stock, is this the exact same pricing I would get if I bought this package? The answer is no. So there's a value proposition there. We're going to go through each one of those ideas. But also, when you're dealing with somebody with acne, it's getting commitment. And those of you that have been working with acne for a while understand that acne is a two-way street, and you can work some miracles in the treatment room, but it really takes your client being diligent with their home care and making sure that they are staying up to speed with their products at home in order to get them over the finish line faster. There's a lot of nuances, and obviously I have one-off conversations with a lot of you guys talking about my client has this specific medical condition, or my client is on this medication, and all of those things are factors. But on average, we can get somebody into a 90-day structured boot camp. We're going to make some serious progress with their skin. So of course, you couldn't have or you wouldn't be able to sell a package or a boot camp if you didn't have service mastery as the foundation for what you do every day. And this is I've been saying it since the very first webinar. I said it even with Maxine's group way back in the day. The very first webinar we were doing is clients are searching for service mastery, and your knowledge has to be well above and beyond a simple Google search. Google searching is great. Obviously, I know Maxine, search engine optimization, get to the top of the Google key. I understand all those fun things, but you as a service provider should not be providing Google level information to your clients. You are the experts in your craft, and that comes through education. That's what clients are willing to pay for 2025 and beyond is your brain. And the more experience that you gather, and I know I've complained about this on some other webinars, we have a lot of things that come and fly by night into our industry that there's no experience. People are doing a cash grab, so to speak, in our industry. And when I look back and I'm like, there's people like Maxine, who I'm looking at your beautiful face, Maxine, who's had not only been a provider for many years, owned her own business, had a successful exit, has coached thousands of estheticians on being successful. That's because of all of her experience. So when you look at your experience for what you're doing every day, every time you do a treatment, you interact with a different skin type, whether they're 11 years old. I think I saw Misty joining. Misty, one of her very first clients, was a very young teenage girl. I think she was 11 or 12 years old, if I'm recalling correctly. But this is all experience. So when the next young teenager comes in, you're getting more experience around it. That's really what clients are looking for. So before you even go to this place where you're like, I'm going to sell a bunch of boot camp offers, you got to make sure that you are really educated in your craft. So let's go over here and talk about solutions and what kind of opportunities you have as far as value proposition. So if you're normally charging, and you guys, I'm just going to throw out benchmark numbers here. So just take this as an average, okay? Because I have people that charge $65 a treatment in rural communities. So that's relevant for their specific space and their overhead. And I have people charging $250 for a treatment. So it really depends on where you're located and what your overhead is. So let's just take it as a benchmark, $100, easy math. If you normally charge $100 for an acne treatment and you offer an LED service, or you have LED in your practice, and you can associate an LED, let's just say it's a $50 value add for your service. We know LED is great for helping calm down inflammation, mitigate some bacteria. Several devices are on the market, and they're not inexpensive. You guys all know you can spend $600, $1,000, $1,500, $1,700 on an LED device for your business, and it does offer a lot of value to your customer. So if you're thinking about just a value proposition, you can take the value of whatever you associate with your LED add-on, and you can add that to the total value of your package. So instead of if you're going to have a $600 package with charging $100 per treatment, but you're going to save $300. So instead of it being $900, it's going to be $600 because you've added this LED on. You've got a $300 value add proposition for your service. Now, if you're in a practice where you do 30-minute acne treatments, you're in, you're out, you're like, solo provider, David, I don't have 30 minutes for them to sit under this LED light. Maybe that's not your offer. Maybe there's something else that's going to go along with it. But I just want you to be thinking about things that you're already currently employing your business that can be value adds to your total service structured price for whatever you want your boot camp to be priced at. Okay. So the second option, of course, is offering some sort of I don't even like to use the word discount because this is still a value add. It's still a high value proposition. You can either position this as a total percentage off your package. So you guys, this is really about what resonates with your customer base. Because some clients are like, they'll resonate with a percentage off. So like when I see a sale, they're like 10% off. I'm not clicking on anything that's 10% off because it's really worth my time to even scroll down this thing. Like I don't care for 10% off. But once you start getting to 35, 40%, and I'm like, ooh, and it's something that I want, then all of a sudden I start to pay attention and say, okay, yes, there's value there. So most of us are charging some fee for a consultation. There's a value associated with that with as well. But also just looking at what's going to resonate with your customer of saying save $300 or save 30 or 40% when you purchase a package. It's just an idea to get your juices flowing on things that are going to resonate with your customer. I will tell you that of course, I talk about acne all day, every day, but the biggest purchaser of packages, I should say the easiest transaction, are mothers of teenage clients. Mothers love to purchase packages for their clients. They just literally are looking at the solution, and then it's up to us to get the teen to be like, all right, you got to wash your face. Okay, yes, you can look at Snapchat while I'm doing your extractions like this, like all the things. But moms love to purchase packages for their teenage clients. They want the one and done. It's easy. It's one transaction. It's simplified. So when you're thinking about who's going to resonate with this, am I targeting my adult female client or am I targeting the mom that's going to buy this for their teenager? It changes your positioning a little bit with how you're going to position, whether it's a total discount off service or if it's a percentage dollar amount, either way, it's all good. And then I've seen some practitioners have really great success with setting up their clients with home care. And you guys, there's a win-win, of course, on every side when we know that our clients are using products correctly. And those of you that know my past, of course, I've told you about how direct anyone that calls and would ask a question about how long is it going to take to clear my acne? Number one question over the phone, how long is it going to take to clear my acne? And of course, we would respond with moderately inflamed acne on average, it'd be about 90 days, but we really need to see your skin in person before we can make an assessment of how long it's going to take to clear your acne. So when somebody comes in, we've already designated, and I recommend actually that you guys actually position this on your websites, in your social media, in your languaging, in whatever sort of downloadable, anything you offer your clients, whatever my 2025 thing is communicate the expectation. What is my expectation? And if your client's asking questions, how long is it going to take to clear my acne? Well, you got to define the expectation for them. It can take 90 days. You can expect to spend $150 to $200 in your first round of retail. On average, it's going to be 45 to 60 days before you need to replenish some of your products based off the type of acne that you have. So if you want to include a value offer everybody loves, who's not going to love going home with an Azelify, or who's not going to love going home with a cleanser and a moisturizer that's appropriate for their products or for their skin type? Maybe it's not the whole entire range. Maybe it's 2 or 3 products, but it gets your client engaged right out of the gate. You've made the assessment. You've designated the correct products for them. You probably filled out a little ritual card. This is how you're going to use your products. And your value proposition is really, really high. And we also, that when your acne clients are using the right products at home, it makes your job easier, less extractions. They're obviously going to start having clearing momentum. So just 3 ideas for a boot camp extravaganza. All right, so for those of you that don't know, which I think most people do know, but really, I think more people should know, acne is the #1 skin condition in the United States. It ranks 8th globally. Setting your practice up for success means getting the education tools and the tools that you need to address this growing market opportunity. You guys, you know what happens when people are stressed in society? More acne. So clients are looking for solutions, they're looking for opportunities, and that's really, 85% of Americans, we've got over 350 million people in the United States. 85% are going to suffer from acne at some point in their lifetime. So this is a huge opportunity to really understand how to actually treat it. Knowing what spironolactone is, understanding isotretinoin and the side effects that can happen, like all the different antibiotics that are available. Like when a client comes in, this is again up to for you being educated on what's actually going on. So we know that 15% of adult women are the fastest growing segment of adult onset of acne. So we love that we can get 90% of our clients over the clearing bridge. This is how we talk about it in Wish World. Getting somebody over where their skin has started to heal. They don't have active acne. We're actually in the healing stage. At that 90-day mark, getting a treatment every 2 weeks, using their home care. Hopefully they've made some dietary changes in their diet. Of course, we all know the clients that are still drinking Red Bull and thinking like, why is my skin not great? So I love this, you guys, because I love real life testimonials, and I have one I'm going to share with you at the end, but these are other estheticians. So in addition to people sending me all the love with pictures and like consumers even sending in saying, I went to this esthetician here and I'm like, my skin is amazing. Thank you so much. I love all the accolades. I love all the love. And it just gives me all the feels to watch people become successful when treating acne because we're passionate about it. So I love saying this, and I love this is a real life picture too of a real life shelf sitting over here. You have to think about it right now because those of us that have money in like your 401k, your retirement, the stock market obviously has been going through like some massive fluctuations. And I said to an esthetician the other day, where else in life can you double your money? You give me $20. I give you the $20 back, you make an additional $20. That is the power of professional aesthetics. This is a huge component of our business for retail in the professional aesthetic space. When I see, so you guys know, you guys are obviously all in the money making esthetician because you're on seeing this webinar, but I will see somebody post something and I'll see somebody making a recommendation for a multi-level marketing product. My head spins off my body for about 5 minutes. I come back down to earth and I calm down. Or I see somebody recommending a drugstore product. I'm like, those products have not been formulated for the aesthetic space. These products have been formulated for you guys to have profitability in your businesses and offer clients tremendous value in what they're doing to their face every day. They're going to actually get results. So I start to see it. I'm like, this is just people that are not really educated in the art of what this can actually do. We've had a couple pros buy buildings. Erica down in Georgia getting ready to expand to a 3,000 square foot space. Can't wait to see it. All the things. This is really a huge portion of of your profitability comes from retail, and we underestimate it. Now, we all know that you can't underestimate the value of product when it comes to acne. It's not okay, I'm just going to go home and wash my face with whatever and, put body lotion on my skin, on my face. That's not going to work with acne. But once you make the connection between if you think about traditional product sales in our industry where it's wants based, I want that $95 eye cream, I want that $120 serum, it's going to make me look younger. Those are wants based transactions. And that is the majority of our industry, you guys. The majority of people are like, I want this product because it's going to make me look better. Okay. When you transition into the acne world, your clients need products. They need products. It's not an option to say, I'm just not going to use that product or I'm going to use it every other week. We know with active acne, you have to stay on top of it. And it requires 2 times a day using your products diligently to get it over the finish line. So I always say wants-based transaction versus needs-based client-centric transaction. It's a solution. We cannot underestimate the value of what that means for all of our businesses. So we have a asset that you're going to this is one of what spurred the conversation. You're going to be getting an emailed template. So for those of you that use Canva, if you don't know anything about Canva, it's going to be plug and play. I'm going to go through the different slides and you're going to be able to modify them for your business because we have Wish stuff in there. But the idea is we actually were invited to a keynote Canva convention I want to say, how many of you guys are using Canva? Just say in the comments if you're using Canva, because it is really a huge, powerful tool. I don't think it's going away. It's actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better and better. And it's becoming more and more and more. Oh, good. Yes. Canva for the win. Love Canva. Yes. So the idea here is we want you in the treatment room. We don't want you spending a lot of time. So if we can actually do things that are easy, give you a starting point, we spend the money on giving you professional photography so that you can take it and plug it into your website, plug it into your Instagram, do a reel real quickly. Like obviously it's a little time consuming, but you don't have to do a foundational asset creation. Makes your life easier. So we're going to give you a downloadable Canva template. I'm going to show you what it is, how you can customize it for your business. But this is where I think is the driver behind this. We've got tailored solutions, you guys, to maximize your visibility. So believe it or not, it's an art form to how you actually photograph a product to make it look friendly. And I know this is weird because you're starting to think about we're seeing all this AI stuff and you can AI a lot of crap, but the origination of a photograph and how it actually looks in your Instagram feed, there is a vibe to it. So I can tell you what people want to click on and what they don't. If something looks grainy or pixelated or just doesn't look high quality, you're going to click away from it. So our goal is to give you guys tools to make that so that you don't have to actually create that from scratch. I know we all have pretty significant cameras in our iPhones now and our Androids, which helps. But having just curated data, curated imagery, marketing material available to you, priceless. So this is the other thing that you're going to do with your business. Because you have a very specific audience, you're going to evaluate things that people click on. What are people engaging with? People love before and after photos. So when you start getting before and afters, I love this photo. I remember helping, her name is Maria, also down in Texas, with this client. It was literally, I think she was probably 4 or 5 weeks into her treatment when we got that photo. So you can fine tune what your audience engages with. What are people clicking with? Did people click on your link tree because of a specific story or something that you're using? And you're just going to fine tune that until it resonates with your audience. And it's a never ending thing. So it's not just one thing we throw out there and forever. It doesn't change. Technology, of course, is changing in real time. And we want to make sure that our things are resonating with our audiences. So this is basically the asset that you guys are going to get. So all of the things, let me move all your faces over here so I can see exactly what's going on. So everything, I don't know if you guys can actually see my cursor up here, but everything from this little guy here to all of the copy, your business name down here, everything is editable. You can edit it and you can literally change this to whatever you wanted to call this. You want to call this your Bootcamp Mastery Program, Acne the House Down, Acne 101, whatever you want this to be. You can also do things where you've got live links. So if you're putting this in your link tree and you've got somebody where they can actually go through it and you can click on booking now or click on buying a product. Canva's so cool like that, you guys. I've watched the story from the very beginning, with everything from logo ideation to photography to label creation, like all the things that it can do. It was interesting because who the majority of the audience was teachers, and how many teachers are using Canva in their the way they actually present information to students. I was like, this is so cool. And it was just a vibe and it was really produced. And like, I love to go to things like that for inspiration, but it gives us inspiration. So when you're looking at this, again, all of the copy over here, the beauty plug in here, we plug that in for Maria. You can talk a little bit about what acne is, what it does. You also have AI writing tools now. Have you guys used the AI writing tools in Canva yet? Cool, I love it. So if you go in and you just have a thought and you're like, I just have a sentence and I could reword that better. So one of the things, you guys, I've been blessed with, I've had to write. So those of you that know, I used to work for a brand called Cosmetics. I had just come off a flight from Australia and I had to write the copy for the entire product brochure in like the span of 6 hours because we had an inventory malfunction and we didn't actually know how many brochures we had left and there were none. So I'm really, really good at writing copy. But now with this stuff, you can actually plug in your thought, plug in a sentence, and it will restructure it. It'll give you a tone. It keeps your grammar correct. It keeps your emotion. If you want it to be more soft or more professional, or like you get to choose a tone, which it just makes your life so much easier. So your logo down here, any of this copy, all editable. The pictures, dropping in pictures of your own clients, your own results, of course, going over a little overview, I think is super key, and like what they can actually, how they understand that it's going to be tailored for them, just things that are going to be specific and personal, which is super helpful. You see, we've got a little bit when you commit to our 3-month program. And again, if you want to go through pricing, if you want to go through 90-day, reinforcing this is a 90-day program and how many treatments are included in that 90-day program, you can include that in this process. You can have a picture of your business over here, a picture of one of your products over here. Like there literally is no end to the creativity. So then, of course, whenever you've got whether this is a digital brochure or it's living on your website, you've got some sort of a call to action with where they're ending up. So what do I want? Do I want to do an initial consultation treatment because I'm on the fence and I want to get a little bit more information? Fantastic. Book this appointment. I want a full starting product routine. I want 6 targeted acne treatments. Whatever it is, this is all game for easy customization. So you're going to get that to play with, and I love it. Here's single session, series of 3, series of 6. When somebody wants to book a series of 3 acne treatments, my pros understand and know this. Depending on the type of acne they have, if you have somebody come in, high fits type, lots of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, they're like, I want to just buy 3 treatments. That's where you get to communicate your expectations and say, you know what, I'm really only going to be able to do this amount with your specific acne type. We're not shaming. We're literally just telling them you actually need a 6 treatment approach. And so this is going to be a better package for you to purchase this boot camp. That's all done through your consultation, and super, super helpful and impactful for just as a marketing tool. So, and then again, let's connect. Are you ready to regain your confidence? Clear skin starts here. It could be healthy skin starts here. Acne-free skin starts here. Whatever you want it to be, the sky's the limit. And this is your personality, you guys. So this is where AI, all the robotic crap, we're starting to see all this crap in Instagram where everything is 100% generated through artificial intelligence. And we don't want to lose the authenticity of what we do in this industry, which is human interaction, human touch. So AI is great. It's great as a tool to support what you're doing, but just the entire creation things, I can always tell like what is actually happening. I'm like, no, that was generated 100% through AI. So I saw Maria posted the other day, and it was a little encouraging stats about our industry. And I just wanted to reinforce, even with all that's going on in the economy and politics and all the things that our clients are inundated with, I want to reassure you guys, if you're watching this in replay, what is the date? April 28th, 2025. We've got data from 2021 all the way to 2032 that our industry is going to continue to have sustained growth. So sometimes you'll see some of these industry statistics and something will go off the chart, and some auto manufacturing, usually it's technology that's disruptive to a certain aspect of society. And although it's good for the moment, it's like a gold rush moment. I've lived through the .com thing, like all the crap where everyone's becoming a millionaire overnight, but it has an extreme curve, it falls flat. One of the things that I've known over the decades that I've been in this industry is we have sustained growth potential. So it's not shooting off the chart. It's also not completely tanking. And we're never going to take away the aspect of you and your healing hands and how you can actually help a client with acne. So it is just we put this in here because I just wanted you to feel a little bit like reassured. Our industry is okay. I've been through so many things in the industry, you guys, where the sky has fallen out. I went through the 2008 recession when the real estate market crashed, like all the things. And you know what? We still had a business at the other side of it. Estheticians were still practicing in the end of it. Hairdressers, nail technicians, massage therapists, people were still working and had jobs. We all made adjustments to our own lives, but at the end of the day, there's still opportunity and it's growing. And of course, acne being number one doesn't hurt our situation. So for those of you that don't know about the Wish World, I see a little picture over here of Sheila, like, what was happening with my face that day? I think we were in Nashville. And I think, Misty, I think this is one of your client submissions. I love it. Love the progress pictures. So Acne Education Elevated, you guys, this is I'm very, very proud of what we created. It's getting better and better. As I get more information with Canva and the technology and all the things that are available to us as a brand to continue to elevate your knowledge, I'm never going to discourage people from getting as much education as you can. You know, Wish is a foundational acne program to get you started. Just things that you didn't learn in aesthetic school about drugs and scarring and the different medications that people will show up in your practice and say, I'm taking X. And you're like, oh my God, I have no idea. People are texting me and they're like, David, my client's on this. Have you ever heard of this? And I'm like, no. And then I'm Googling it to figure it out because it's a newer medication. So it's constant evolution of education, but we have to tell you that it's never going to change. Our industry is evolving, the technology is evolving, the ingredient technology is evolving, and so we have to constantly keep ourselves educated. And so that is the foundation of Wish, of course. We make phenomenal products. We have two that we just recently launched, a new Acne Safe SPF 50 called Intelligent with some amazing peptides in it. We just launched a product called Azelify for our rosacea-prone clients, 10% azelaic acid. That's my job, you guys, to the industry is I love it. I'm constantly formulating stuff. I actually made a moisturizer for one of my singer friends yesterday because she's talking to me about some issues. And I'm like, give me an hour and I'm going to come up with something pretty cool. So we'll see her results and see what she comes back with. So of course, state-of-the-art formulations, we're constantly staying at the forefront of that. Those of you that have been with Wish for a minute understand when there's new technologies available and I can do a next production run with an upgraded formulation or ingredient technology, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the opportunity to constantly enhance formulation because that's where the magic is. So we're going to continue to support you. You guys know every one of my pros has my cell phone number, can text me at any time. I wake up, I'm like, whoa, there's 15 messages from the East Coast this morning. I love it. I love helping people through some challenging cases. That's why we're here. That is the intention behind Wish. So this review actually came in over yesterday. Caitlin is a new Wish Pro. And you guys, the thing that gives me the most love and the most feels about this is, Tabitha, I see your question. How often should we go back and rewatch it? As often as you want. Because once you get through the whole course, all the modules are open to you. So go and if you're like, what was that about? You can watch a module whenever you want, jump back in. It just keeps you like top of mind. You know, I wrote it, so I know it like this, but sometimes it takes 2-3 times to actually get it to sink in. So you have access to it and everything that we push into it. I don't want to call it level 2 because I know that pissed off a lot of people with our other friends in the industry, level 2 acne training. So we're going to continue. There's going to be another update that's coming in there that's not going to be additional cost to you guys. The more education that goes in there, that's going to be for you and your arsenal of resources to use as a practitioner. So over the weekend, woke up to this review. Caitlin's a brand new pro. She just graduated. And the thing that I thought was so cool is anybody that has gone through multiple types of acne education, it gives me all the props to get this kind of feedback. I just can't even tell you guys, when we get a really positive Google review or somebody posts on one of our social media channels that they had a really good experience or something, it just gives you the glow and like reinforces what we're doing every day. So I love that. And I appreciate Caitlin so much for taking the time to write that. So if you are I know we've got a lot of, whoops, there goes the whole chat. I know we have a lot of pros in here. If you're watching this in the future, we've got some promotions set up for new students to come on with the brand. Believe it or not, you guys, we have a lot of medical practitioners coming into the space. And when I tell you we spent $0 advertising to anybody in the medical space, I don't spend money on influencers. I rather send you guys a new product launch, like when we have something new coming out. That's how I want to use my resources. But people are loving the Med Spa package. It has the most value to it. It makes the course free. But I just realized that physicians are also looking for ways to help their clients. I was talking to an esthetician in a dermatology office last Thursday down in Florida, and she's like, David, my dermatologist sends me all of the acne patients because they've had multiple rounds of medication. They're not getting good results. So there's just different options for you guys. These, of course, are live on the website. There's no code required. If you're seeing this in the future and you're like, David, I want that offer, I want that. Of course, you can just always email us support@wishskinhealth.com and we will figure out a program or protocol for you. So you guys, I know, like, look at how quickly an hour goes by. I always want to leave at least a few minutes so people can ask questions. Let me go over here and find the chat. And let's see if can you guys see everyone's messages up here now, or you still see my other screen? You see everyone's messages? Here.
Can you read them? Do you want me to read them to you?
Actually, let me just put them right. Can I just have them on my screen? Chat preview, is that an option? It's okay.
I love Kimberly's statement. She's like, let's not pretend David is the reason we all want this line. Yeah.
I appreciate the love. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Just thank you, Erica. That's so kind. And you guys, I love that when you're literally spending time and like writing your goals for the month, or you're like, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna take a little time to do some Canva training. I think I saw Maxine, you guys post a little Canva training on just how to do some basic things. There's a lot of resources, a lot of things on YouTube. But just the best way to learn is you just got to go in there and start playing. And you can just start with like, what do I want to do today? I want to create a social media post. And when you get really savvy, you plug everything in and you can just generate your stuff for Facebook, Instagram, right out of Canva land. And it's kind of like one-stop production. It makes it very, very easy. So I just think that it is, I mean, how much is it? $11.99 or $12.99 a month, a tool, a resource. And it's literally, I believe, so Maxine, when we went to the keynote,
Yep.
there, every time they unveiled something, I'm like, oh, they just put like Microsoft Office out of business in like one slide operation because they're showing data aggregation. And then a different team came up and they introduced coding. And they're like, do you type in your ID? I want to create an app, and all of a sudden it's coded for you. And they're like, people in the room are like, what? I don't have to learn coding. And then there was people in the room going, oh my God, I'm a coder. Oh my God, my job. I'm like, don't panic. It's okay. It's all right. It's just another resource, and we always are going to have room for expertise. So any other questions? Anybody?
They have websites also.
Yes, building a website like some of they still haven't released all the updates that they actually went through. But when I saw like the biggest rounds of applause, it was like taking something in your head that felt their motto is like making complex things, simplifying complex things, and just watching it go to work. I was like, this is phenomenal. Like literally, like this, it's just made things more accessible to more people than having to. I mean, I remember spending over $5,000 building our first website. That was just like, back in the day, or spending 15, 20, 50, $100,000 with wireframing websites.
Yeah.
It's no longer an issue. So anybody want to ask a live question? If you see this in the future, you can call us. Telephone number 760-309-4600. You can always email us at support@wishskinhealth.com. The website is wishskinhealth.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Catch our podcast, DM us, all the good things. That's why we're here.
David, I love the breakdown for your charging. Like, like, what should I charge? Because we get that a lot as well. So it was just spot on. It was great. And the fact that, we have so many acne specialists, like you have that ability to increase your prices as you're getting more in demand and gobbling up market share. So I just love that whole breakdown to give people a springboard to, I just loved it. So thanks for reiterating.
I love that. Well, you know what? It's a benchmark thing, right? So when you get to the place where you guys are going to work with Maxine, you're getting all the business acumen down, your operations, your systems are tight. And then when you start becoming booked, like nobody tells you in life, especially as a service provider, like, okay, I'm booked out 60 days. Okay, now my schedule is booked out 90 days. What should I be doing? And it's a valuable, valuable thing to start looking at your pricing and saying, okay, it's time for a price adjustment. Even when you start getting to that 45-day mark, it's a conversation you should start having. Obviously, we want to make sure that, you know, your pricing is effective. And as a benchmark, obviously starts somewhere. And then when you start getting booked out, you know, you're selling a ton of retail and you're like, I can't get anybody in my schedule. That's when you actually look for a price modification.
Mhm. Awesome.
I love that.
Great class.
We have a question. If a client comes in twice a month, would you recommend one switching between chemical peels and acne facials or bi-weekly chemical peels?
Great question. So you're gonna wish peels are formulated to be used as frequently as every 2 weeks. So if a client is coming in, they're using their home care and they are feeling too sensitized for the day of treatment, you can do a traditional treatment on them without chemical exfoliation. It's okay. Just assess the skin the day of treatment. We don't want to oversensitize our clients. You guys, some of our clients are going to be using azelaic acid. Some of our clients are going to be using a BPO in their protocol, depending on what type of acne they have. So make the assessment the day of. You can, you know, we don't use any TCA. We don't go below a pH of 3.0 in our peels. So they're designed to be microbiome friendly, microbiome supportive. We don't want to annihilate the skin. So if the skin comes in and they're oversensitized, you can do a traditional treatment without chemical exfoliation. Cool.
Alrighty, thank you so much, David. This is gonna get sent out via newsletter and on YouTube and reposted in the group. And I will make sure to add the Canva link. So look out within the next tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow.
Perfect. I love that. Well, I will stop sharing my screen. Go back
Thank
over
you.
here. Thank you guys. Thank
Thank
you for taking
you.
the time to attend. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.